Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today, where I will be showing you more about the partnership of the Carnegie Mellon University and Protocols.io. My name is Anita Brolox, and I'm the head of outreach here at Protocols.io. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar, so just please be aware of this if you ask any questions at the end, and I will also be sending out a link to the recording to all of you afterwards so you can rewatch it. And so regarding questions, we will have time for questions in the end. So if you have any questions, please feel free to either type them out in a little chat window you see in the Zoom interface, or there's also in the very end, you have an option that says raise your hand. So you can raise your hand and then I can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself at the end too. But yeah, as mentioned, we're recording this, so just keep that in mind. The agenda for today is, first I'm going to tell you what our mission of Protocols.io is, and then I'm going to walk you very briefly through the main functionalities on Protocols.io, which includes exploring publications, creating your own protocols, sharing files with others, publishing, how you collaborate on Protocols.io, running protocols, and the file manager. And then I'm going to give you a quick overview of why it's good to use Protocols.io for teaching and show some examples for using Protocols.io for teaching in classes. And then I'm going to show you how you can get started with setting up your premium account using your Carnegie Mellon email address. And then in the end, we have time for questions and answers. So the mission of Protocols.io is really to make it easy to share method details before, during, and after publication. And so the reason for this is, as scientists, a lot of times we are facing a problem that there's not enough detail in a method if we want to replicate a method or reproduce a method. And so we really want to make it easy for everybody to just share very detailed method descriptions before, during, and after publication. And so I'm going to show you how all that works now. So one of the things you can do in Protocols.io is you can discover publications. To do that, you can go up to this little search window you see up here, and you can type any keywords that might be relevant for the protocol or the document you're looking for. And then when you search for a keyword, then you will get a whole list of like all search results that would match with your keyword. And then when you click on a protocol, this is what a protocol itself looks like. And so the special thing about here is this is not a static PDF protocol, but it's a rather very interactive and dynamic protocol. So there's a lot of things happening here. One thing you can see down here, there's a step-by-step description of the protocol. So it's not just like one big blob of text, but it's like the protocol can be broken up into little steps, so it's like very easy to follow. Another thing is here on the right-hand side, you can see there's a commenting functionality. So on the protocol itself, people can have Q&A and do like brainstorming or feedback, suggestions, improvements, all these kind of things. So this can happen either on a private level, or this is a public protocol as an example. This can be public and anybody can just join this conversation here about this protocol, and you can make comments on a protocol level. That means it's just a general comment on the protocol itself. Or if you have a question or a comment on a specific step, you can also click on that step and then ask a question or make a comment on that specific step. And then all the protocols that are published can be linked to a publication. So this, for example, is a protocol that belongs to a Nature publication. And also the protocols themselves, as they're public, they become a publication. So they get a DOI. And also here we have a little indication of the status of the protocol. So you can see, is this protocol working? Is this something that is in development? Maybe it's something even somebody attempted and it didn't work. So there's like a status. Also, we have something called versioning. So that means after the protocol has been published, it can be always kept up to date with versions. So the author can at any point create new versions. And if somebody tries to access an older version, they will always be led to they will have a little pop-up that says, hey, there's a new version available. Do you want to see the newest version or the old version? And then there's a comparing functionality, so you can see what changed from version 1 to version 2 or any other versions, for example. And then we have an option called Run. I will show you what that means in a little bit, but you can basically follow the step-by-step description while you're doing the experiment in the lab or wherever you're doing the experiment. And you can also, you have the option to export the protocol as a PDF, and you can save it either to your computer, to Dropbox, Google Drive, or Box directly. And there's an option called fork. So if this is, for example, a protocol that you use for your own experiments, but you use it maybe in a slight modified version, maybe there's like some steps that you do a little bit differently, you can create your own copy of this protocol and make edits to this. So that's what a fork is. And so on Protocols.io, all the public protocols are open access, so everybody can just view them without even needing to create an account. There are about 4,000 public protocols now, and it's not only molecular biology protocols, but there's a large diversity of disciplines. So we also have psychology protocols, a lot of computational workflows, clinical trials protocols, teaching, just to name a few. If you'd like, you can explore more on just protocols.io/explore, or if you click on the explore button. So if you want to create your own protocols, it's a pretty straightforward process. You click the little plus icon that's on the top right corner next to your profile picture, and that brings you to our editor. And the editor just has a bunch of, just a lot of details you can add. So you can add a description, guidelines and warnings, very detailed materials. And also for the steps, you can include any like images, or if you have any like tables or like durations, like you can add little timers and all these kind of things. So I'm not going to go into this in much detail right now, but you can just really add a lot of things. Also for computational workflows, you can put all your code and all your data set and all these kind of things to just really make it very clear and add a lot of detail to your step. And if you're done entering a protocol, you can share the protocol. There's different options to share a protocol with others. One option is you can get a shareable link. This is a private link that everybody can use to view a protocol, and there's no need to be logged in or anything with this, so you can just copy that link and send it to anybody, even if they don't have an account on Protocols.io yet. Or if you would like to share it with others who do have an account on Protocols.io, you can either share it with individuals by typing individual email addresses on the top line here, or you can share it with an entire group by searching for the group on the bottom line here. And then you have the option to decide between different viewing settings. So you can say, do I want that person or group to be able to only view the protocol? Should they be able to edit it? Or can they even edit and publish? Or do you want anybody to be a co-admin of the protocol? So there's different options for sharing levels. And then if you want to publish a protocol, there's two different options. So you will see one button called Get DOI and one button called Publish. And so the Get DOI button is really for if you are submitting a manuscript and you want your protocol to get a DOI, but you're not ready to make your protocol fully public yet because you maybe want to wait until your paper is out. So then you would go with this option to just get the DOI. You can include it in your paper, and then the reviewers can look at the protocol, and the protocol, once it gets the DOI, it's permanent, it's fixed, and it cannot be edited anymore. So this is the perfect way to go if you're just submitting a manuscript, or if you're ready to make it fully public, you can also click publish, and this will make your protocol fully public. And so really the main difference is if you click publish, it will be findable. So if somebody searches for it through the search functionality I showed in the beginning, they will find it. And if you get only a DOI, it's unlisted, so people will not be able to find it yet. So there's those two options. And then for the publishing process, it's there's a little process that you have to just go through to make sure we have all the information we need for you to publish it. So you set a protocol title, you set who are the authors of this protocol, and then the status, like, is it working, is it not working, is it in development? And then you can also associate it with any groups if you have, for example, a lab group or any other group you want to associate it with. And then last step is you make it public. And then once it's public, it's citable, and you have a protocol citation that you can add to your manuscript, and also others can cite it. And everything that's public gets archived in clocks, which ensures long-term preservation of all the public knowledge. And once it's public, as I mentioned before, others can take it. They can create their own forks of your protocol, and you can always make versions and keep it up to date. And there will be commenting. So if anybody asks a question on your protocol, you will receive a notification that says, hey, somebody asked a question, and you can just answer those questions directly on the protocol itself. For the collaboration and protocols IO, there are groups. So you can have groups, either private or public. And then, as mentioned before, there's the commenting functionality. So people can really collaborate on the protocols directly through that commenting functionality. And you can easily share the protocols with others, and also experiment records and other files through the file manager. And in groups, you can also post events or other resources. If there's any tools or resources you use, you can just post them in a group and everybody can see them. And you can also start discussions. So the discussions don't necessarily have to be on a protocol, but if you just have any questions or anything else, you can just start discussions by asking questions directly. And then for running protocols, you can either run a protocol on your computer directly, as you can see on the left here, or we also have free Android and iOS apps, and you can download them, and you can basically run the protocols on your phone or tablet, on your mobile device, while you're in the lab doing the experiment. And then you have the option to add notes to every step or just make comments. And then, of course, every step receives a timestamp, so that later, once you save the experiment, you will be able to track back when each step was checked off. So it's like a lab notebook record. And then last, I wanted to show the file manager. So the file manager is really your space to organize all your work, and you can create different subfolders. You can see, so if you have a group, every group will get a group folder. That means it's like a shared folder that every group member has access to. And every group member will be able to see the content of that group folder. And you can just move around files by just dragging and dropping them basically into it. And you can share not only protocols and experiment records, but you can also add any other files here. So if there's any spreadsheets or presentations or any images or whatever, you can also include them here. And so why is it good to use Protocols IO for teaching? So it makes it just very easy to share class material. And if you're teaching, you can share the step-by-step instructions with the students, and there can be a Q&A on the class content directly, as I showed before with the commenting functionality. And the class content, it can either be open to all, or you can choose to make it private and only accessible for your students. And it's also very easy for the students to share their results. So if they're following a protocol in the lab, for example, and they want to share the results with you afterwards, they can just click share on their experiment record, and they can just share the results with each other or with the instructor. And then also it's very applicable for various fields and topics. So as mentioned, it's like good for lab classes, computational classes. Also, if you're doing like a field trip or something, it can be really good for instructions for that. So there's really no limit really what you can do with it. And you can also, in the groups, if you have a group for your class, you can post events such as important class events, deadlines, etc. And you can add resources to it as well. And then the class can have discussions in the discussion space. And here are just 2 examples of what this could look like. So for example, if you have a computational class, you can make the data sets and software and code available through the instructional protocols. And then the students will be able to follow each step of the computational workflow one at a time. And then they can check it off as they do it. And for lab classes, you can just provide very detailed lab protocols. You can include images of, for example, how the setup should look like or how any procedures should be done. And that just makes it very much easier to explain the workflow. And you can also include warnings and stuff like that. And then the students can use the apps while running the experiment that allows them to easily follow the steps and also record any observations they're making. So what are really the key benefits of the university plan for the CMU community? With this plan, we're really removing a major barrier to reproducible research. So the creation and sharing of detailed methods in published articles is really one key benefit. And also campus researcher can identify precisely the steps of their performed experiments and share them with ease. And another thing is the adoption of protocols.io for internal organization and tracking of research method on campus can be really helpful to just make the research go faster and be more reproducible. And better reporting and more reproducible publications for the CMU research community is another key benefit. And so if you're planning to get started now, how do you log in? So first you would navigate to the protocols.io landing page and you will see a button that says sign up. So you would click on sign up. And then you can create an account using any email address of your choice. So it doesn't have to be your CMU email address. You can use any email address if you'd like. But if you do use your CMU address, you will automatically become a premium user and you do not need to follow all the steps that I'm going to show you now. So it's up to you what you want to use for this. So if you do not use a CMU email address, you will have to verify your account through an email that will be sent to you, and you log into your account on protocols.io. And so actually you have to do this too if you use your CMU email address. But then if you don't use your CMU address, the next step you would do is you go to your profile page and there's a button called upgrade. So you would click on that. And then there's the drop-down menu, which will show you a bunch of different universities, and you will select Carnegie Mellon University from the drop-down menu, and then click on a button that's called Verify Your Organization Account. Once you click there, this window will pop up, and you will have to enter your CMU email address. And so you enter there, and then you click Verify. And then a verification email will be sent to your CMU email address, and after this is verified, your account will become a free premium account. And so you will have a free premium individual account, and also all groups that you create with that account will be premium groups as well. And really your premium benefits of this is you have unlimited private files, and also for the groups, you have team administration. So for example, you can have different settings in the group, such as you can decide you don't want anybody to be able to share any files outside of the group or remove any files outside of the group. So this is really if you're setting up a lab group and you don't want the protocols to leave once a scientist leaves the group, so you can make sure everything just stays in that group. And you can share the lab notebook records. And also you do have unlimited of training. So if ever you would like to have a more detailed demo of all the editors and stuff like that, you can contact me and I will get on a demo with you and just show you all these things in more detail, because we just went through it really quick right now. So please feel free to just reach out, and I can do it for either individuals, or if you have like a team meeting, I'm also happy to do it for an entire team. And if you have any questions, just send them our way and we'll answer them ASAP. And that was it from my side. And now we have time to answer any questions you might have. And as mentioned before, you can either type them out in the chat window, or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you, or you can feel free to unmute yourself. Thank you, everybody. Are there any questions? Okay, Lenny says, can you describe what happens to a premium group in 2 years if CMU does not review the site license? That's a very good question. And actually, I did prepare this slide for you. So a good question to ask is, what happens if CMU stops a campus-wide subscription? And so what will happen is there's no obligation for campuses or researchers to pay any fees. And in the event of contract cancellation, so if CMU does not renew the license, the premium users will have the option of paying the individual and team accounts directly. And the access to existing protocols will continue even if no longer premium. And then one more good question to ask is, how will external collaborators be handled? So let's say you create a group and you're having a collaboration with external collaborators from a different university, and you want to invite them in your group to just be able to comment on your protocols too and just be them part of the group. So if you are a CMU student or faculty member, you can create a group and you can invite external researchers to that too. So it's free for external academic or industry collaborators to join and just collaborate with you in the same group. And there will be no additional charge to that. Any more questions?
And this is Lenny. This is not a question. Thank you, Anita. Not a question, just a quick small item that I wanted to add because it often comes up. People worry, what if something happens not in the long term, even about Protocols.io as a company, but what if there is a denial of service attack? What if Amazon goes down? What if I cannot access my protocols and my files? And so in addition to the archiving that Anita described, where we send all of the PDFs of public protocols to clocks, we also have a GitHub repository where we mirror all of the public protocols, both the PDF and the JSON file. So it is a searchable repository. And if you can't get to Protocols.io, you can always go to GitHub. And for your own private files, of course, we don't send that publicly to any mirror, but you can in bulk export all of your protocols, all of your records directly to your computer or with a click to Dropbox, to Google Drive, to Box. So we have those integrations built in. There are even a few electronic lab notebooks that have, through the API that we have, directly connected to Protocols.io. So we do take this seriously. We know that a lot of people rely on the method and need 100% access to it. So we encourage people to make those backups and do that exporting as well. And we try to make it as easy as possible.
Thank you. So I will stick around for a couple more minutes in case anybody does have any questions. And if you have any questions at any point later, please feel free to always send me an email at anita@protocols.io. You can see it on the slide here. And I'm happy to answer any questions, or as mentioned before, I'm also happy to do any additional demos if there's any need for additional demos of the editor or anything you need. Thank you everybody for joining.